welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic on an absolutely filthy day here in the UK. I've even had to shut my window. It's raining cats and dogs outside. There will be no bird noise today. Sorry for those of you who like that. But what are we going to be doing? We're going to be doing a brand new puzzle called Loop with a Difference by Scruffamudda, a pseudonym that always strikes me as a potential euphemism that we could use as a mild expletive on the channel. Maybe instead of bobbins, we could just say, oh, Scruffamudda. Now, why are we doing this? Well, that's an interesting question. Maverick has literally just taken off from the local airfield. His precision is remarkable. Apologies if you can hear aircraft noise as he buzzes past. But the reason we're doing this is that somebody recommended it to us, and I looked up the page on Logic Masters Germany, and I was so struck with the rules. I thought I really would like to have a go at this. I'm afraid I have no information at all about how hard this puzzle is. I've not even run it through the testers. It's just some puzzles, when I see them, they just capture my imagination, so I want to have a go. So I thought this might be a good opportunity. I will read the rules, which are really, well, are they simple? No, they are. They are very simple to understand, but they're quite remarkable. That's the thing that's captured my attention about this. It's a loop drawing puzzle mixed up with Sudoku, but with a seriously short rule set. It doesn't seem like it should be possible for this puzzle to really exist, but apparently it does. I don't have much news for you today, actually. I'm going to say good luck to Tomas, who is competing today in the Swedish National Linguistics Olympiad final. I didn't know that there were such things as national linguistics competitions. But anyway, Tomas, best of luck with that. I hope Cracking the Cryptic has stood you in good stead. I'm not sure it will have done, but anyway, best of luck today. Let us know how you get on. And the only other thing to mention is, of course, this wonderful Sudoku hunt that we've got going on over on Patreon at the moment. If you're a patron of the channel, check it out. If you're not a patron, I promise you it's worth joining. I mean, it's a couple of bucks a month to become a patron of the channel, and there's lots of extra content over there. And our reward for May is a Sudoku hunt by DiMono called The Jewels of Osiris, which comes complete with a whole novella. And in order to keep accessing more and more of the story, you've got to solve some Sudokus along the way. Lots of you are enjoying it. There are certain characters that seem familiar that make appearances, like a character called Mark and a character called Simon. I won't tell you any more than that, but I hope, well, I know lots of you are enjoying the experience, and we're very grateful for DiMono for creating such an unusual and remarkable hunt for us. But let's get on to Scruffamudda's puzzle. These are the rules of Loop with a Difference. So, normal Sudoku rules apply. The solver must draw a single loop which travels along the grid lines, but not on the outer perimeter. The loop must not branch or touch itself. So we're going to have to draw some sort of loop, sort of very much Slitherlink-esque. What colour have I got? Oh, hang on, I've got black as my my loop drawing. I'll make it as red. Reds looks like it's going to be beautiful. If you want to turn on loop drawing in the software, and I would recommend it given this is a loop drawing puzzle, the way to do that, if you can't immediately see how, is to click the cog icon on the right of your grid and enable pen tool. And if you enable the pen tool, something will pop up which allows you to, it does allow you to draw loops in the middle of cells, but you can also draw loops, just drag and click as you might expect. Fantastic stuff from Sven as always. You can just draw loops along the lines. So we've got to draw a loop. The loop mustn't touch itself, so we can't sort of argue that that's a loop, because this loop has most certainly, it's sort of overlapped itself, or at least touched itself, and that's not going to be a permissible solution. And then a digit in a blue cell shows the number of that cell's corners, as in the grey dots, which touch the loop. And pairs of digits separated by the loop have a difference of 1. And that is it. Isn't that absolutely amazing? I don't know, maybe I'm giving this more credit than it deserves, but I don't think so. I think this is truly just bizarre that this can exist. Oh, I've just realised that there was an example puzzle on Logic Masters Germany. I should show you that, shouldn't I? So let me just go and grab hold of that. Right, there we go. I just went and snipped this, which is a 6x6 version of this puzzle. So, okay, so Scruffamudda has used a red loop, which I fully approve of and endorse. Right, so the blue cells are telling us how many of the grey dots at the sort of vertices of the cell are used by the loop. Right, I see. Okay, so it's not quite normal Slitherlink, is it? Because there is a 4 clue here in this cell. And you can't normally have 4 in Slitherlink because that would imply a complete loop around the cell. But I can see how 4 of the dots around this cell are used by the loop. 3. Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm not sure how much I have gained the knowledge that 4 can be used as a clue cell in this puzzle, which I wouldn't immediately have recognized until I really thought about it. Okay, the other interesting thing I'm noting here, look at row 3, column 3, which has a 1 in its as its number. And that's just touched at a vertex, look. So you could never, with a 1 clue, normally in Slitherlink, again, one of the edges is taken up by the loop. But with a 1 clue with this rule set means one of the vertices is taken by the loop, and therefore none of the edges can be. And that's fascinating. That's absolutely. It's already filling my heart with joy. Do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. So, how do we start this? The perimeter is out of bounds, isn't it? So I'm tempted to start. Let's go to loop drawing. If we can't draw along the perimeter, we can never get to the perimeter. So I am going to X out. Oh, whoopsie. almost a shank. Scruffamudda. And we'll do this all around the edge of the puzzle, which will make me feel like I'm making progress. Okay, so these blue cells here, maybe this one on the perimeter, what can they be? Oh, okay, so actually, so Scruffamudda's been quite kind. Because there are actually no grey dots on the perimeter, are there? Which makes sense because we can't use the perimeter on the loop. So this square and this square can only be 1s or 2s. So in fact they must therefore be a 1-2 pair because we can't, the vertices of these cells that are possible to be used by the loop are only the right hand side vertices, because otherwise we'd get to the perimeter with the loop. Right. Oh no. What I should do first of all, actually, I should write 1, 2, 3, and 4 into all of the blue cells, because there's no possibility that any of these cells has 5 vertices. Right. So that square is a 3 or a 4. That square is is not a 3 or a 4. This is a 1 or a 2 because it only has 2 vertices. We've got 4 blue cells in row 3 and 4 in row 7. I'm trying to see whether there's any other instances where we've got 4 blue cells in a sort of Sudoku house, a row, column or box. I don't think we do. So I know one of these is a 4. I'm sort of presuming 4 is the most valuable digit to learn about. Let's just think about that. If we put 4 in here, what are we actually learning? We're learning that all 4 of the vertices are touched by the loop. You see, This is trickier. It's trickier than I thought, this puzzle, actually. Because a 4 in a blue cell, I thought would be at least forcing that sort of thing. A Slitherlink 3. But it doesn't look. You could do that. That's touching 4 vertices. Oh, and the other thing you could do, I've just realised, is that. Oh, Bobbin's face. Scruffamudda. This is trickier. Okay, so 4 is not quite as powerful as I thought it was. So is it 1 that's the most powerful? So is it the fact there's a 1 in one of these? 1 is powerful, isn't it? I mean, if this is 1, you know that you've got this sort of thing going on. One of those things must be true. So okay, so 1 is probably more powerful as a digit than 4, which makes me think this is the start. So one way round, this won't work. Oh, let's try 1 on top. 1, 2. So why doesn't this work? If we did this, how would this look? The 2 vertices that are touched here are these. Right, well, okay, what I can see is if you go 1, 2, in fact, whichever way round the 1 and the 2 go, this vertices, I don't know how to pinpoint it, this one that my cursor is circling, it's orbiting the planet of this vertex, that's used, isn't it? Because whichever one of these is the 2 is saying both of its dots are used, which requires this middle one to be used, but that will complete the 1. So that's forced. So you have to do that and that. And then this can't. Oh, this is already a... right. But then you get the rule that says where you have 2 cells separated by the loop, they have to be consecutive digits. So this would be a 3. If this is a 3, and this one would be a 4. That would work. So that one would actually be a 2 in this iteration, because it couldn't be a 1 because this loop segment here has to go somewhere. Oh, I don't know. Okay, this might be correct. Let's just unwind this for a moment. So that was 1 on top of 2, wasn't it? Let's just have a look at 2 on top of 1 and see if that breaks for some reason. So that does force the loop in a different direction. Again, the planet being orbited by the cursor here is definitely in, so that forces this, and that forces the loop to do that. And this would have to be a 3, and this would have to be that's lovely. Okay, that doesn't work. That's very cute indeed. Right, let me show you why. If we go in this direction, this 2 is next to a 3 because it can't be next to a 1. It needs to be next to a consecutive digit across the loop. And it can't be next to 1, so it's next to 3. That makes this a 4, but that breaks this, because that's saying that all 4 of the vertices are used by the loop, and that means I need to touch this vertex, which will mean this 1 should have been a 2. So, right. So what we've actually learned here is something... I don't know how powerful it will be, but it's certainly something that's worth noting, and that is you can never put a 1 and a 4 in orthogonal neighbours in this puzzle for self-evident reason. The 4s, all 4 of the 4's vertices will be touched by the loop, and that will break the 1 automatically, because the 1 should be at least a 2. Right, so how do we do this? We unwind all of this nonsense, because that is what it is. And we know that the 1 goes on top of the 2. And we know, therefore, that this is not in, so we have to do that. And we now know that this crosses a boundary, so that becomes a 3. We know this is a 4, because it can't be a 2, and again, this is a boundary crossing. We know this square is not 3 or 4. That's like a total shank there. Scruffamudda. And we've had, right, this is a 1 or a 2, but it's a 2, isn't it? Because if we think about how the loop extends from this point, it's either going this way or this way, and either way it's touching 2 vertices of this. Okay, right, and I've spotted something else. This 3 is completed now. I can never touch this vertex. So I have to put X's there, and in fact, I've got to be even more careful. I can't even do that, can I? Or that would turn this 3 into a 4. So I can do that and that, which forces this down. This 2 is now complete, so we can't touch this vertex. So I can't touch this vertex again. So that's doing something to this one. I'm not sure what it is yet. But more importantly, surely, is that's become a 1 by our old friend, our fair weather friend, Sudoku. Oh, look, yes, we're getting all sorts of nonsenses resolved. Okay. So how... Yeah. Okay, so now this is where we look, isn't it? Which one of the vertices around this cell is touched by the loop? Well, it cannot be anything. It must be the northeasterly one, because anything else is going to cause us to touch more than one vertex. So it's only this one, and therefore we must do this. Yes, okay, we must remember where we find 1s, effectively we're forced to only take one of the vertices, which means no edges. So this seems to have to go downwards. This one now is at least a 3, look, this cell, because I've already touched 3 of its vertices. It's not a 3, because if it was a 3, what would I put into that square? I'd have to put 2 or 4 in across the boundary, and I can't do that. So this is 4, and 4 means everything is touched, doesn't it? So somehow we've got to touch. Yeah, this is the problem though. I do have to touch this vertex. This is another planet being orbited by a cursor, but I don't think we know. Hang on, let's just get rid of 4s from those squares. I don't think we know how that's going to happen, because this could effectively be viewed as a slitherlink 3, like this, or like this, or we could do that perhaps. I don't know. Okay. So where do we look now? I've literally got no clue. I don't know. Sorry. Sorry if you're spotting this. There's probably a lot of ways to continue here, and I'm asking my brain the question, and my brain is being completely recalcitrant. Okay, I see. So this cell has to be surrounded by 3 and 5 as its consecutive digits across the boundary, and that, look, that gives me more digits. And it gives me another digit here. So that 1 is going to be interesting, because remember, we can immediately do this. Okay, is that good? This square is, that's just a given. I mean, I'm not being very good at spotting obvious things. This cell must be a 3, because it's got to be consecutive with 2 and can't be 1. So, so I see, look, 2 by Sudoku now, of all things. So 4 is in one of these squares by Sudoku. So if that's a 4, this square is impossible to fill, because that's a boundary. So this would need to be 3 or 5, which it can't be. So that's a 4, which means this is not a 4. So 5 is in one of those positions. If that's 5, that has to be 6. Okay, hang on a minute. If I do that, how do I get this loop segment here out? There's no way. You can't get out. It's penned in because it's only allowed to touch a vertex of the one clue. So it could touch it there, but then it's going to bump into the loop. Right, so that's not in. Now what does that mean? So that means this is either, this could still be this one, couldn't it? And that would make this a 3. So this would have to then be a 2, but that's right, that doesn't work. Ah, okay. Okay. Right, so let's do this slowly. This is one option for how this 4 clue works. We have this vertex being used, but not by another edge around this cell. Now that's clearly making this a 3. Now if this is a 3, this is a boundary, so this has to be consecutive. It's a blue square, so it can't be, well, it's got to be a 2. But this cell, I think, is already touched. 3 of its vertices have already been touched, and therefore that's not right. Which means that the way that this 4 works is it's a slither link 4, a slither link 3. Now, and that's great, because now this is a boundary, and that means that's a 3 because it can't be anything else. This square is not a 3, but this square is a 2, and it's a 2 because this vertex here we've got to either extend northwards or eastwards, which will complete a 2 clue here, and it doesn't preclude, I don't think, that movement. Right. Ah, okay. All right. So now, how does the loop close between this spot and this spot? Well, one way I can see it could close is like that, except this cell now would have to be a 3 or a 5 to be consecutive with the 4. And it definitely can't be a 3 or a 5, so the loop doesn't do that, so it doesn't go there. So it goes up, completes the 1, and turns. And that's going to... Right, that's created a great long string of digits in box 4 by this rule about boundaries crossing the loop, because how do we show this? I don't know, I'll just switch to green for a moment. Those squares, look, that is a consecutive sequence, because this one, whatever this one is, has to be consecutive with this one, which has to be consecutive with this one, and that has to be consecutive with this one, because they all cross this little region. Right, so effectively we can view this a bit like a Renban line, and therefore that square has to be extreme within the digits that are left. So if we think about the digits 1 to 9, we've used up 1, 2, 3 and 4. We've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 left to be used, but we know that this is a consecutive sequence. So this is either 5, 6, 7, 8, which would make this a 9, or it's 6, 7, 8, 9, which would make this a 5. And let me just think about this for a second. That's not a 1. That's not the thing I was thinking about. I was thinking about how to prove what this is. But now I'm getting distracted by other things I can see. Oh, right. I've seen something much better. Right, look at the 1 clue now. That's been finished by this red line. So we can't come in ever to another... Oh, I've got to go back to red. We can't come into another of these vertices, and that's going to push this boundary, which we'd foreseen as possible, because this is a 2, 3 pair, and 2 and 3 are consecutive. So we can't, right, so now we can't come and visit this vertex, so we've got to do that, and we can never visit this vertex. I've said the word vertex a lot in this video. Right, we can't visit this vertex. I've done it again, because that would make this clue a 4, so we've got to do that. So we've got to continue. Right, so this is a 1 or a 2. So one of these is a 1, and one is the most interesting digit, isn't it? If that's a 1, we have to turn away. Right, what we can't do is ever go south, I think. If we go south from here, how do we get the loop out of the bottom of the grid? And we can't, because this would be a 2 and this would be a 1, and you can't get the loop through a 1. Well, we can't get the loop through a 1 where the 1 and the 2 are this close together, because we'd keep having to deflect ourselves away from the 1, and there's no way to do it. It's true, but I don't. Okay, so I think what that forces is all of these x's, which I suppose forces x's at the bottoms. Okay, so we can sort of. We've got a great raft of xing around these 1s and 2s clues. I've got a bad feeling that I've missed a load of Sudoku here. Oh, possibility for a 3 in the corner. Down here. No, okay. I think what I might do as well, I might keep using my green line idea, just to keep an eye on where I've got borders across the loop that I've not used. Like this is a border across the loop. And okay, now I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. How do we do this? There's going to be some order of this, isn't there, that's going to cause problems. Let's try 2, 1. No, actually I don't want to do that, because I've just realised that this 2 is not forced. I thought by doing that I was going to force this, but I've just realised it could do that, couldn't it? I'm just going to try this the other way around. If this is 1, 2, then at least I know what this does. That must be forced up. And therefore, yes, and then this 2, right, this is good, because this doesn't work. I don't think this works, this 2 here, because I have to take those 2 loop segments, but I can't come into this 1 because I've already used its vertex here, and that forces us to do a sort of a bucket on top of this 2. But I don't see how this is going to work, because what do I put into this square? Well, the answers are 1, well that clearly doesn't work, because one of these will have to be a 2 and it will clash, or 3, but that was absolutely broken, in fact, because we need these 2 cells to be a 2-4 pair to be consecutive with 3 across the loop, and they can't be either of those things. So this is not a bucket, and if this is not a bucket, it's simply impossible for this to be a 1 and 2 in this order. So this is a 2 and a 1. Now, I'm not sure though. Now I've got to think again about how this works. The 1 cannot go into the corner, because the 1 would be forced to be a 2. So this vertex is out. So we do visit this vertex, which forces that shape. Oh, no, no, right, but look, that's doing some things up here. So we get a 4 here and a 1 here. And now, are these things, well, that's limiting this one. And are we getting some Sudoku from this? We're nearly getting some Sudoku. Are we? I've got a very chromatically interesting looking grid here. When I was looking at this green, I really wanted to turn it this way because of these X's, but I've got to remember the greens are not doing that, are they? In fact, look, I've got to do some more greening for those cells. Right. Yeah, okay. Right, so what I can do here is position 1 in row 6, I think. It can't go there by Sudoku, or here by Sudoku, or here by Sudoku. It definitely can't go across a green line, because that's going to force a 2 here. Can't go there, that's going to force a 2 here, so that's a 1. Oh, right, no, there's a different way of seeing this. Right, let's look at this row again. So if we think about these green lines, they're like white Kropke dots. Now, what do we know about a consecutive pair of digits? Well, one of the digits will be even and one of the digits will be odd. That's always going to be the case with consecutive digits. We've already got 2 even digits in this row, so there must be an even digit on this sort of green line, and there must be an even digit on that green line. And that's all 4 even digits for the row. And that means, let's get this right, these 2 squares are odd. I mean, that might not be in any way interesting. But that means this square is even now. So this can't be 3, because that would need a 2 or a 4 here. So this square is 6 or 8. It has to be even. And it can't be 4 or 2. This square oh no, this is that's beautiful. This is so beautiful. Right. So now, how could we so I've been worried about this 2 being this. Oh no, not this, not this, not this, this. Well, it can't be this, because this requires an even digit. If we do that, that must have an even digit. But we proved both of these cells are odd. That's so cool. So this is that way, and that's beautiful, because that makes this a 3, because it's got to be consecutive with 2 now, and therefore alright, therefore what? So one of these has got 6 on, one of them's got 8 on. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm meant to be able to deduce something from that. Okay. Oh, right. So now Sudoku again. This has been these 2 3s force a 2-3 pair here. Look, it's been quite interesting. Is that I've needed to do both things. It's not just been a loop drawing exercise. This I have had to do some Sudoku as well, which is outrageous. It is outrageous, Scruffamudda, making me do Sudoku in your Sudoku puzzle. This is a 4. That's got to be tricky, hasn't it? What? Oh, no, I'm going to do more Sudoku. Where does 1 go in this box? There's 4 ones looking at box 3, and they plonk a 1 there. Now, actually, I'm just going to check this. I'm going to double click things and let's have a look at whether we can do... No, okay, I get a 1 in one of those 2 cells. 2s, I've got quite a lot of 2s. 2s are in one of those. Same thing, I think, in one of those. 3s. 3s are also over here. The thing about 2s and 3s being close together, though, it makes me think that you're going to have this sort of thing going on. In fact, look how many 2s and 3s we've got across boundaries so far. Lots. 4s, I don't... Oh, I have got... No, I have got some 4s, actually. Look, I get a pencil mark 4 up here. I've only got 1 5 in the grid, and I've got nothing else. I mean, that's the other extraordinary thing as we get to this point, is how on earth are we going to be able to disambiguate the high numbers in this puzzle? Because I can understand how, if we worry away at the loop long enough, we'll figure out the blue squares. But the blue squares can only tell us information directly. I suppose a 4 in a blue square can tell us information about 5. But where are we going to get information about 6, 7, 8 and 9? That feels very, very difficult to achieve. Anyway, I'm going to come back. I'm going to think about this 4, because this 4 has to have all 4 of its vertices engaged with the loop somehow. That sort of feels tricky, well, with these 2 ones being so close to it. Oh, I know what I should do. Let's do this. All of those things are forced. So let's just have a quick look at this. So this one, it's only got 2 options. It's either that or it's that. So if it's that, you have to do that. You can't now come in to touch the other vertex, so you've got to touch all the vertices of the 4. So you get a slither. This turns into a slither link 3. This would have to be a 3-5 pair, which is tricky, but not impossible. I'm not sure. That doesn't seem to break immediately, does it? Let's try it the other way. Let's try that one. If we do this way, that's got to come down. That's impossible. So we've got to come there. We've used up this one, so we can never come to this vertex. So we have to... That's out of bounds. That's out of bounds. So we... Oh no, it's simpler. It's much simpler than this. Right. Well, actually, no, I did need that. I did need that loop segment, so I'm going to leave that in. You get, this is forced if we do this. But now look at that. Well, we've got to find 2 digits consecutive with 4. One of those is going to be 3, and then we've got a 3 in the row, so that doesn't work. And that is beautiful, because that means, well, when I was looking at what this did, it did lots of things. So we've got to take this vertex, which means we can't take this vertex. We're now forced to do this. Actually, look, around this one clue, I've just used its vertex, so I can't have anything coming into any of the other vertices. This has to go like that now, because it can't get to the perimeter. Right, this one, this 4 has to have all its vertices touched. So we've got to go in here, down here. We've got to touch this vertex, and we can't do it from that direction. So we've got to do that. Yes, okay, and now we come to the thought we were having here. This has to be a 3-5 pair, because effectively we've got green... no, we've got green lines here, we've got green line there, green line here, green line here, green line here, green line here. These green lines, actually, they're really useful, just for my little brain in terms of seeing the relationships. So this has got to be a 3, because this one can't be. So that's got to be a 5. So that's got to be a 9 now. That's going to tell us the makeup of this line, which is 5, 6, 7, 8. So the middle 2 digits are 6 and 7. So this is 5 and 8 in some order. Right, look at that. The top and bottom of column 2 are 8 and 9. 3 here is looking at this, so 2 and 3 go in. Oh, 2 goes here actually. 3 comes out of this square, 2 comes out of this square. I still have one opportunity only, I think, for a 3 in the corner. This square is 4 or 6. It's got to be consecutive with 5, but I'm not sure whether that's resolved or not. This is a 2, and well, okay. Look, this is a 2, and we've touched 2 vertices already, so we can't touch another vertex. So we've got to do that. But why? How do we know what this now does? It could. Well, at least I think it could do either of those things. If it did that, this would be an odd number. It would have to be a 7 or a 3. Oh, which actually it could easily be. Bobbins. I don't know what to do now. We could. Alright, let's use this one. We've touched 2 of the vertices, and we're only allowed to touch 2 of the vertices, so that's forced, so that's forced. We can't come in and touch the third or fourth vertices of this 2 clue. So this loop is closing now, one way or the other. It's either closing like this or like this. And either way, if it closes like that, that square's got to be a 5. Which might be possible, I'm not sure. No. Right, here's a lovely thought. I have got a 4 pencil marked into those 2 squares, both of which have a boundary below them. Now neither of these can be a 3 because there's a 3 in the box, so one of those is a 5, which means that's not a 5, which means the loop doesn't go north there, so it's got to go across here and then it closes. There we go. That is beautiful, isn't it? Now I can draw more green lines. I've got a green line there. Oh, no, I haven't. I've got a green line there. So the problem with these green lines when they dip in and out of different boxes, though, is that means they can have repeated digits on them. So it's a lot less powerful than this green line. I've virtually finished the loop. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So I've got to close it around here somewhere. The problem is it could go on a merry wander, I fear. No, it can't go on a very merry wander because this one clue, I can't get too near to it. Okay, so it's very nearly finished, this 2 clue. Okay, look, what's that cell? That's a 5. Look, that's a little green line I'd not drawn. There. Now I've drawn it, that's better. I mean, there are other green lines I've not drawn, but I suppose I've filled them in, so maybe I didn't need to. Right, so 5 is now down here, look. What about, yes, 2 in box 3 is just, we can just write it in. How many 2s have we got? Loads. I can get Yes, I can get another 2 here. So this is 2. That's a 5. And that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. That's very nice indeed. I'm always approving of 3s in corners. Right, okay, so now we've got this. We've got 4 in this box is placed by our old friend Sudoku. So, yes, that's a 4 now. Oh, bobbins, no, no. That still leaves open the possibility of this, though. 4 and 3 are consecutive, so we can't rule out that this turns. What about... that digit's odd. I can tell you that using the trick about consecutive digits again in row 2. I've got a 2 and a 4 in row 2. This is a pair of consecutive digits, so there must be an even number on it. That must include an even number, so that digit is 7 or 9 only. Can we do the same in this row? Are we? Well, I think... oh, goodness me. Right, sorry, this has been available for ages. Where's 6 in row 6? That is a good question. And the thing is, it can't be. There's got to be an even digit on this domino. But if it was 6, it can't go with 5, so it would be a 6-7 pair, and that square's got a lot of problems. If there's a 6-7 pair there, it couldn't exist. So you can't put 6 there, which means in this row, 6 goes here. And that's huge, because if that's 6, that's 7, that's 8, 8. Ah, that's 5. This is not 5. As the rain batters the window. 5. So we now know that the even digit on here is 8, which is going to go with 7 or 9, but there's definitely an 8 in this domino. So okay, so 8 in column 9 now. Where does it go? It can't go there, so it's got to go here. So this becomes 6, which means that's a 7, which means actually that backs a 6. So we are getting the high digits resolved slowly but surely. Those two squares are 6 and 7, which we can do. 7, 7 and 6. So that square's become a 9. Okay, so this digit is... oh, I see. All right, so this digit is now most certainly odd, because it's got to be a 7 and a 9 from this row. But if it's odd, what is the nature of a consecutive digit with an odd number? That's right, it's even. So that's 8, that's 9. So that's 8 by Sudoku. This is a 6-7 pair, which means that square's become a 9, so that square's become a 7. Okay, so this digit is consecutive with 6 or 7. So I don't know the parity of this one. Could be the 5, couldn't it? We know one of these is a 5, so if that was 5, that was 6, that was 7, that would work very sensibly. Yes, okay, and now I can complete the loop, because this being an 8, we can't put a boundary there, because 3 and 8 are not consecutive. So the loop closes with alacrity, and that's finished the loop. We've done the loop. So all we've got to do now, I say this with a dose of comedy, all we've got to do now is finish off the rest of this somehow, some way. I've got 6, 7, and I can do this. That's 6, 7, and 8 by Sudoku, so that's 9. So that's 8. That's a 5 in the corner by Sudoku. This 8 here means this is not 8. So these are 4s, 6s and 7s. Let's just put that in case we can see something that emerges from that. There's definitely an... Oh. Well, hang on. There's definitely an 8 on this domino, isn't there? That seems to be the implication. And if there's an 8 on it, there can't be a 6 on it. There must be a 7 on it. So that's a 6. So this becomes 4, 7. Now 7 is going to be interesting, because what does that mean goes in these two squares? Well, 6 or 8, but both seem to be possible. But this is 7 or 8. So that can't go with 5. There's no way this is a 5, because this is 7 or 8. And that means this is a 5, which means that's a 6, that's a 7. And that's a 4, so that's a 7. So this is 6 or 8, and now it's 8, which means that's 8, that's 7. And these two squares are 6 and 9, which we can fill in. This is just sensational. This is one of my favourite puzzles of recent times. It's just gorgeous. Right, that's done all the ones. These squares are 4, 5 and 9. That's a 9 by Sudoku. This is a 4, 5 pair. These two squares are something and something. Perhaps not the most descriptive thing I've ever said on this channel. These squares are 6 and 7. Oh, bother, that's not done either. Okay, well, let's try this column. 7 and 8. So the 8. Whoopsie. This is 8, this is 7, this is 7, this is 6, this is 6, this is 9. So 9 seems to have to go there by Sudoku, which will make this a 5. 5, 4 go in, and 4 goes down here. And I think we have... Yeah, oh, no time. I did it in no time either. That 52 minutes went rather quickly. That's just a brilliant puzzle, isn't it? What an idea from Scruffamudda. What an execution as well. That was so beautiful. And for once, I think I hit upon a good way of notating a puzzle. So I think the green lines helped me actually to see some of the parity ideas. And I just love the way that you've just got some blue lines and some grey dots, and you can fill in a puzzle like that and create a unique loop with a unique Sudoku solution built around it. That is seriously clever to me. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.